Hello, you're watching World Talks on TVP World. My name is Sasha Farbach. Russia's political influence is decreasing. President Volodymyr Zelenskyy wrote on X after Armenia's election, pointing to what he sees as a broader decline of Moscow's influence across the post-Soviet space. Now, in remarks carried by The Guardian, he cited Armenia, Moldova, and Azerbaijan as examples of countries pursuing more independent paths, while arguing that Ukraine's eventual EU membership could create new political pressures inside Russia itself. Those comments come as Zelenskyy meets European leaders in London to discuss a ceasefire, security guarantees, and the next phase of the war. Joining us now to discuss it further is Yulia Sirko, Ukrainian MP from the Voice Party. Good to have you with us. Welcome.
Welcome, and hello from Kyiv, from Verkhovna Rada.
So let's get the view from Kyiv about President Zelensky's comments there. I mean, at the E3 in London, that's now wrapped up. What do you make of his statements there?
I think, first of all, we are going to give our greetings to Armenia. They chosen pro-Western path, and this is a very, very good sign in Caucasus in general, because we understand that Russia had a very tough grip on this region, and they saw it as their region in influence. So I think more and more strong and powerful countries inside Caucasus will make them more powerful without Russia, and they will actually pick up their own way. And that's a very good sign for the whole region and for Ukraine as well, as we can see really that Russia is becoming more and more weaker. We are weakening them on the battlefield. Politically, they are weakening themselves, basically. And we saw even with a peace letter to Putin from Zelenskyy, Putin doesn't want to stop the war, so he still thinks that he can win somehow this war, but this is no way how he can do it, neither politically, nor diplomatically, nor on a battlefield. So they are weakening themselves, and if they will do proceed in this way, I think in 6 to 12 months they will start just falling apart economically and politically as well.
Yeah, and also, I mean, also just to confirm that for our viewers, I mean, this meeting, this face-to-face that was proposed by Zelenskyy in that open letter, has been rejected by Vladimir Putin. He's ruled that out. Maybe just briefly, why do you think he just consistently rules out a face-to-face meeting with Zelenskyy?
I think because Putin doesn't want peace. I mean, he just needs war and a lot of war efforts, put a lot of money into war machine. So his way of life and his way of thinking is a war, not peace. That's why there is he thinks there is no sense to meet Zelenskyy, because Zelenskyy clearly said that this letter, not only for meeting but for peace talks, so to discuss peace. And if the person like Putin doesn't want peace, how you can only put pressure? You can only put pressure on him and his political system and Kremlin. Maybe in this way he will agree to start peace talks.
Mm-hmm. And let's also talk about the battlefield, because it's interesting, because if we take that logic, I think it was Sergei Lavrov who said also yesterday that he's not so sure about negotiations. He thinks the war will be decided on the battlefield. So let's look at that logic for a second, because there, I think Ukraine is also doing really well. This is also confirmed by Sirsko, one of the top commanders of the Ukrainian armed forces, saying that Ukraine has regained more than 600 square kilometers since the start of the year and recovered more land than it lost in May. So how significant is that for Ukraine's cause?
It's significant in terms of a clear message that Ukraine can sustain on a battlefield and even can deoccupy their own territories physically by the army. So there is no sense to talk again about Donbass and concessions of the Ukrainian land if we can deoccupy it. First of all, Ukrainian army did magic and stabilized the front line. And then they started to deoccupy territories. And in May, they deoccupied more territories than on the previous years and months. So I think a good tendency, and we also can see it over in the cities, over our heads. Yes, it's still a lot of ballistics flying into our cities, but drones are coming less and less, because we built a very efficient anti-drone system inside cities. So the main danger now ballistics, and unfortunately we don't have a lot to anti-ballistic systems. But now we can see that drones attacks became less deadly and in less amounts from Russia's side. So and you also can see that we are now focused on the middle strikes and the deep strikes. So when we have enough capacity and we are producing a lot of weapon and drones for middle strikes and deep strikes, so Russia will have tough times in next few months if they will not agree to start talking about peace and ceasefire.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned ballistics. That's another thing I can just briefly mention as well from President Zelensky's post, just the one that came out just earlier this morning, where he also stated that he's trying to work with the UK to build more anti-ballistic, an anti-ballistic defense system, also maybe on a European level. So we'll have to see how that looks like. But just back to diplomacy quickly, I want to ask you, Mr. Abramovich, one of Russia's richest men, was apparently in Kyiv speaking with Zelenskyy. Zelenskyy confirmed that. What do we get from that? Is this another quiet channel to the Kremlin? Is this going to be the way we get Putin to agree on anything?
First of all, Abramovich really is a person who still has access to the Putin's Kremlin, so most probably he can deliver messages. But we don't forget that Abramovich also was owner of the Chelsea, British football club, and he sold it for 2.5 or 2.4 billion pounds, and this money is stuck in Britain. And it should be channeled for Ukrainian reconstruction and support of Ukraine. And this is also the discussion among Britain, Ukraine, and Abramovich, how we can get this money for reconstruction and actually renovation of the infrastructure, of social infrastructure, schools, hospitals done by Russia. Damage done by Russia. So also this is, so to say, issue to discuss, and I think it's a very significant amount for Ukraine for the security and defense, as well as rebuilding social reconstruction, social infrastructure, because it's a very important to keep it in a good shape, and also to attract our people back from different countries. We need to reconstruct schools, hospitals, residential buildings, create jobs, etc. Then Ukrainians will come back.
Mm-hmm. And also, I mean, just a brief one. I mean, this issue with UPA, the unit in Ukraine, also the White Eagle order for President Zelenskyy. Now, the Polish president, Mr. Nawrocki, has said this is now not going to be removed at the time being. This is what was decided. But just quickly on the relationship now, because of what's happened the last few days, where do you see Polish and Ukrainian relations because of that issue?
I think historical issues shouldn't be the main issue between Polish and Ukrainian people, because we have a lot of issue at present and a big enemy on our borders, on Ukrainian border and Polish border as well. And I think we have to focus more on productive and joint efforts to keep security on our borders, as well as for economic development between our nations, and not historical historical issues, honestly, because I think Ukraine is struggling enough and paying a very big blood price on a battlefield for the whole Eastern Europe. And Poland always support Ukraine, and Poland hosted more than 4 million in the first months of a full-scale invasion of Ukrainians, and helping our mothers and kids. And I think we should focus more on a present, not on the historical issues. But let's see how it will develop. I don't think, I hope it will not develop on the wrong way, and we will find common language and common goals for the future.
All right, so giving us this, thank you so much for all those insights. Really appreciate it this morning. Yulia Sirko, Ukrainian MP from The Voice Party, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching, but stay right here. There's much more coming up on TVP World, so don't go away.